Next, we shall go to Unit 2, a prose lesson called A Nice Cup of Tea by George Orwell. About the author. The author, Blair, 25th June 1903, January. Author, Eric Arthur Blair, born on 25th June 1903, died in 21st January 1950. Better known by his pen name George Orwell, was an English novelist, essayist, journalist, and critic whose work is marked by clear prose, awareness of social inequity, opposition to totalitarianism, and candid support of democratic socialism. Orwell wrote literary criticism, poetry, fiction, and polemical journalism. He is best known for his allegorical novels Animal Farm in 1945 and the dystopian novel 1984 that was written in 1949. In 2008, The Times ranked him second on a list of the 50 greatest British writers since 1945. Glossary. Curious, interesting, controversial, disputable. Virtues, admirable or disputable. Despise, hated. Stimulation, excitement, optimistic, positive or hopeful. Cauldron, a big pot used for boiling. Rationing, restricting the consumption scarce commodity during war. Dangling, hanging freely. Spout, pipe-like opening in a teapot through which tea is poured out. Poured. P-O-U. Liable, responsible, mysterious, comprehensible. Etiquette, socially acceptable behavior. Based on your understanding of the text, answer each of the following questions in one or two sentences. What seems curious to the author? In the cookery book, the preparation of tea is not mentioned. Tea is one of the main stays of civilization, and the best manner of making tea is the subject of violent dispute. This seems to be curious. Why does the author say that it is important to include a tea recipe in the cookery books? Tea is one of the mainstays of civilization. Therefore, it is important to include a tea recipe in the cookery book. Mention the countries in which tea is a part of civilization. The countries in which tea is a part of civilization are Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand. Which tea does the author prefer, China tea or Indian tea? The author prefers China tea because it can be drunk without milk. It has virtues and also it is economical. According to the author, what does the phrase a nice cup of tea refer to? A nice cup of tea refers to the Indian tea. What is the second golden rule in the preparation of tea? The second golden rule in the preparation of tea is that tea should be made in a small quantities, that is, in a teapot. How does army tea taste? In the army, tea is prepared in a cauldron. It gives the taste of a grease and whitewash. No tea lovers like strong tea or weak tea. So, sorry. Do tea lovers like strong tea or weak tea? A cup of strong tea is better than 20 weak ones. All true tea lovers not only like strong tea but also like it a little stronger. Why should tea be directly added to the pot? Tea should be directly put in the pot in order that it would infuse properly. Why does the author prefer the cylindrical cup to a flat cup? The author prefers that one should drink out of a good breakfast cup, that is, the cylindrical type of cup, because this cup holds more. What should be poured into the cup first, tea or milk? One should pour tea into the cup first. Why does the author advise removing cream from the milk? The author advises to remove the cream from the milk because milk that is too creamy will always give tea a silky taste. Does the author like drinking tea with sugar? Give reasons. No, the author likes drinking tea without adding sugar. It is a Russian style. Adding sugar to tea will destroy the flavor of the tea. It is equal to put in pepper and salt. If sugar is added, the tea will not be tasted, but only the sweetness is being tasted. Why does the author refer to himself as being in a minority? Most of the people like to drink tea by adding sugar to the flavor and also adding sufficient milk, but the author prefers to drink tea without adding sugar. But there are only a few people who do it. Therefore, the author calls himself that he is a minority there. Whom does the author call misguided people? What is his advice to them? People who don't like to drink tea because they drink it just to stimulate themselves and also they need sugar to take the taste away. These people are called as misguided people. Based on your understanding of the text, answer each of the following questions in 4 or 5 sentences. What are the author's views on China tea? In the lesson, A Nice Cup of Tea, the author celebrates the richness in drinking tea. He says, China tea has virtues which are not to be hated nowadays. It is economical and anyone can drink it without adding milk. But there won't be much stimulation in it. One does not feel wiser, braver, or more optimistic after drinking it. How does adding sugar affect the taste of tea? Some people would not like to drink tea. If at all they drink, they only drink it in order to be warmed and stimulated, and they need sugar to take the taste away. Such people are called as misguided people. If sugar is added to tea, it will ruin the flavor of the tea. So, he advises people to take tea without adding sugar to it. Elucidate the author's ideas about teapots. Tea should be made in a teapot. Tea out of an urn is always tasteless. In the army, tea is prepared in a cauldron. It tastes grease and whitewash. Teapot should be made of china clay or earthenware. Silver or Britannia ware teapots produce inferior tea. Enamel pots are worse. Pewter teapots are curiously enough, but it is rare and it is not so bad. Answer each of the following questions in a paragraph about 100 to 150 words. Summarize George Orwell's distinctive ideas in a nice cup of tea. In the lesson, A Nice Cup of Tea, George Orwell highlights the distinctive features of preparing a nice cup of tea. He says in the cookery book, the preparation of tea is not mentioned. It is quite interesting because tea is one of the mainstays of civilization in this country, that is, in England, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand. Some suggestions. He gives some suggestions on the best way of preparing tea. When he started tasting the tea, he wanted to give his own idea on the recipe for a perfect cup of tea. Some golden rules. He has drawn out 11 rules which he considers to be golden. First of all, one should prefer Indian or Ceylon tea. China tea is economical and one can drink it without milk, but there is not much stimulus in it. A nice cup of tea can be had in the Indian tea. Secondly, tea should be made in a small quantities in a teapot. In the army, tea is prepared in a cauldron which tastes of grease and whitewash. Teapot should be made of china or earthenware. Silver and Britannia ware teapots produce inferior taste and enamel pots are worse. Thirdly, the teapot should be warmed than by the usual method of swilling it out with hot water. Fourthly, tea should be strong. Sufficient amount of tea leaves should be put, and 1 cup of strong tea is equal to 20 weak ones. Every tea lover likes to have a stronger tea. Fifthly, the tea should be put straight into the pot. Strainers, muslin bags, and other devices must not be used to stop the tea. In some countries, pots are filled with little dangling baskets under the spout with to catch the stray leaves which are supposed to be harmful. Next, the sixth point is one should take the teapot to the kettle and not the other way about. The water should be actually boiling at the moment, which means that one should keep it on the flame while one pours. Seventhly, after preparing the tea, one should stir it well or shake it, allowing the leaves to settle. Eighthly, one should drink it out from a good breakfast cup, that is, a cylindrical type of cup. The breakfast cup holds more. Ninthly, one should pour the cream of the milk before using it for tea. Milk that is too creamy always gives tea a sickly taste. Tenthly, one should pour the tea into the cup first. This is one of the most controversial points of all. By putting the tea in first, stirring as one pours, one can exactly regulate the amount of milk, or one is liable to put too much of milk if one does it the other way round. Finally, he says, tea should be taken in a Russian style. That is, tea should be drunk without adding sugar. If the tea is sweetened, then the flavor or the taste is destroyed. It is like adding pepper and salt. If sugar is added, then we are only tasting the sweetness and not the tea, says the author. Some people just drink tea to be warmed and stimulated. Therefore, they add sugar to their tea. The author comes to a conclusion that the taste of